Alright folks, before we kick this off, I want you to take a look at this message I found floating around the internet. It says, "We all start somewhere." Profound, right? Inspirational poster material. The kind of thing your mom would share on Facebook with a sunset background. And it's true, everyone who's amazing at something started out a little clumsy. You can think of people like Sylvester Stallone, Cristiano Ronaldo, Vin Diesel, big names, big successes. They all had tough beginnings. The thing is, it's exactly the same in Identity V. Even the pros we see in tournaments, those players pulling galaxy brain moves, were once newbies. Yep, the same kind of newbies who did, let's say, very interesting things in the game. And by interesting, I mean stuff that makes you laugh now but probably made your teammates cry before. Don't laugh too hard though, because you've been there too. And me, especially me. I probably invented half the bad habits on this list. What kind of bad habit? Well, I'm glad you asked, because that's what this video is all about. Today, we're diving into 10 silly, questionable things every Identity V newbie does. And trust me, you've done at least one of them. Maybe all 10 if you're anything like me. But hey, no shame. Nobody's born a master gamer, right? No one's born instantly cracked at the game. Unless you're some cursed meme that went viral the first day it touched the internet, in which case, please don't report me for being bad. Anyway, let's jump in. When you're brand new to Identity V, the idea of meeting the hunter doesn't feel like an exciting opportunity to show off your juking abilities. Nope, for a newbie, it's pure panic mode. Seeing Mary, Geisha, or even Burke, the guy people jokingly call the hunter punching bag, was enough to make my thumbs sweat. My heartbeat in game, racing. My heartbeat in real life, also racing. Suddenly, I'm plotting escape strategies like I'm in a spy movie, with the sole mission of not getting clowned by this one Mary. What I didn't know back then was that Mary herself was probably crying inside because she was chasing a cockroach who was known to always ruin her. For everyone, when it came to kiting, windows and pallets were basically the emotional support. Newbies, however, takes it into a whole nother level. When they saw one, they vaulted it. Didn't matter if it made sense or not. Like, the hunter's here, the window's here, well, they're going through it. The thought process would be, it's fine, they'll vault slower, I'll be safe. Yeah, well, no. Reality check. Hunters have blink, dash, hook, or they just walk around the window like it's nothing. And the newbies? They're still there, proudly thinking they outplayed the hunters, only to eat a hit straight to the face. But so Mina, isn't that what you do in every match? Well, yes, thanks for telling me that. Usually, the end result of a kite for me is that I'm downed in less than 15 seconds. Everyone's typing yo-yo in the chat while I'm sitting there on the chair wondering if uninstalling the game might be a good idea to do. Cipher machine primed. That message exists for a reason, folks. For the complete newbies out there. Yes, you who still think hiding in lockers is a survival strategy, it means the last cipher machine is at 99% progress. Basically, it's sitting there waiting like a cake, fresh out of the oven, ready to be served at the perfect moment. Now, why don't people just pop it immediately? Simple. Timing. The team waits so everyone can get into position, and most importantly, so the poor survivor being chased can use their borrowed time trait to make a daring escape. And if you're about to ask, what's borrowed time? Then, buddy, maybe take a little detour back to the tutorial. It's in there, promise. Anyway, here's where I confess my sins. When I was a newbie, I popped that cipher early, every single time. The hunter could be breathing down someone's neck, teammates weren't ready, but I was basically slamming the pop button like it was a game show buzzer. This led the other being enraged by my action, with the reactions ranged from gentle scolding and explanation about how it works, to, well, let's just say I was told to redo the tutorial 10 more times and go to a university to understand how cipher machines work before daring to play again. Like, dude, I started playing Identity 5 to avoid university stress in the first place, and now, the game was basically giving me homework. I totally get that sometimes hunters decide to be friendly with survivors. I call them newbie-friendly hunters, and the term has two beautiful meanings. First, they're easy for newbies to use. Second, they're so tragically difficult to play that when the hunter is a newbie and meets even slightly annoying survivors, they just snap and become friendly instead of harmful. And the problem is, when I play hunter, I don't just fit into the second category. I may even invented the terms. I'm so spectacularly bad at playing hunter that the moment I get toyed non-stop, my brain just blue screens. It often feels easier to give up the pressure than endure endless pallet stuns and flashlight spam. Seriously. At times, standing still or joining survivors in their antics seems like a safer option. That way, maybe they'll say thank you in post-match instead of duck you. But there was this one time that I gave up chasing and tried to be friendly. And what did the survivors do? They just kept running, over and over, like I was holding a knife. Which I was, actually, since I was playing Michiko. But why did they keep on running? They're being rude to me, not gonna lie. And it took me months to realize those survivors were bots. Let me repeat that. I got outplayed, outran, and out-toxiced by bots. I tried to befriend them. I tried to surrender with dignity. And they still told me to buck you in their cold digital little hearts. Who else gets rejected by AI? Who else loses so hard the game itself says no to their friendship? We've all seen it, that glorious, heroic, perfectly timed rocket chair rescue. The kind that makes survivors cheer and hunters sigh in respect. It's elegant, it's brave, it's everything a survivor dreams of being. Well, unless you're a newbie, then it's a tragic comedy of errors. There are several spectacular ways to turn a rescue into the most embarrassing moment of your Identity 5 life, and, believe me, I've turned them into an art form. First, there's the classic 51% rescue. You swoop in, decide it's the perfect time to hit a sassy emote, and by the time you finish dancing, the chair progress is at 51%. Awful. Second, the instant regret rescue. You swoop in like a hero, only to have the hunter immediately smack your friend right back into the chair. You didn't rescue them, you just delivered them a second helping of pain. Awful. Third, the suicide by basement special. Picture this. It's detention. The hunter is a full presence bonbon. You're a decoder with no Ty Turner, no rescue skills, and apparently no common sense. You go in anyway. It's not bravery. It's a public service announcement that you are, in fact, brain dead. Awful. And lastly, the I just came to watch you die rescue. You tap the chair, free your teammate, and then immediately sprint away without a single thought to body blocking. You didn't save them. You just gave the hunter a second target. Totally awful. And as a former newbie with more courage than sense, I'm proud to say I've perfected all 4 types. In the early days, I perfected all 4 mistakes in rank matches, like collecting stamps in a very humiliating passport. The result was often outrage in team chat, ranging from exasperated reminders to outright calls for uninstalling the game altogether. For survivors, every Identity 5 map can be split into 2 types of zones: the strong kiting areas and the weak kiting areas. The strong ones are like fortresses of hope, filled with walls, windows, and pallets. In the right hands, these places can turn into playgrounds of endless loops, where hunters rage and survivors pull off escapes worthy of a highlight reel. Experienced players know these spots by heart, almost instinctively drifting toward them the moment a chase begins. But the story changes for fresh survivors. Instead of running toward safety, beginners often charge headfirst into the second type of zone, the weak hiding area. These places are nothing more than wide open fields, sometimes with a single lonely pallet sitting there like false hope. No windows, no cover, No plan, nothing. Just a blank stage for the hunter to demonstrate their skills. And when the hunter happens to be someone built for chase, like Woo-Woo or Joker, the result is usually disastrous. The problem doesn't stay forever. With time and practice, survivors learn the map layouts, memorize the loops, and stop treating open fields like sanctuaries. But in the early days, it happens again and again. A survivor sprints into open space, all goes down in seconds, and the rest of the team is left groaning. To the newbie, it feels like bad luck. To everyone else, it looks like a deliberate act of self-sabotage. Communication is everything for survivors, especially in solo queue. Quick chat is the lifeline that connects strangers on a haunted map, and it decides whether the match turns into a coordinated rescue mission or pure chaos. Playing alone means relying on it even more. No friends on call, no teammates on Discord, just silence in the room, maybe broken only by a Kimetsu no Yaiba poster of Nezuko, smiling down like a guardian angel. Beyond that, it's just loneliness and the quick chat wheel. In theory, the system isn't complicated. Messages cover the essentials: cipher progress, hunter location, plans to rescue. But in practice, especially for newbies, the code can be confusing. One message says, "Open the gate, I'll save the others." Straightforward enough, but in the hands of a beginner, it turns into standing politely by the gate, while the rest of the team wonders, why? Decoding stopped. Technically, the words did say, "Open the gate," so it doesn't even feel like a mistake. Other times, the confusion takes on stranger forms. A teammate might suddenly type, "The hunter used abnormal." But the hunter didn't. There was no trait swap, no cipher regression, nothing. What it really meant was something else entirely, that someone on the team was behaving abnormally. Usually that someone was the one still figuring out how the chat worked in the first place. Quick chat is supposed to build teamwork, but in the hands of a new survivor, it often builds only misunderstandings. The end result isn't strategy, it's comedy. At some point, every new survivor has believed the locker to be a secret weapon. The thought goes, if I hide here, the hunter will never find me. I bet that even the so-called pros have tried it once or twice. The idea isn't completely wrong, but it's far from reliable. Lockers in Identity 5 can be both lifesavers and heartbreakers, though they lean toward the latter more often than not. There are moments when lockers shine. Against Naiad, slipping inside one clears her water skill instantly. Joseph's camera world can be fooled too. Entering into a locker before he snaps a photo means the mirrored version won't appear. Even Norton gets his benefits thanks to his passive skill that speeds him up near lockers. And then there's the psychological advantage. Lockers are so often dismissed as useless that some hunters won't even check them, which occasionally turns them into the perfect hiding spot. But the downside overshadows it all. When used in the middle of a chase, lockers become traps. The hunter simply walks up, yanks the door open, and drags the survivor out like pulling clothes from a closet. Meanwhile, teammates watch silently, pretending they didn't see the disaster unfold. The brave hider turns into easy prey, and the heroic fantasy of outsmarting the hunter crumbles in seconds. That's the locker experience in a nutshell. Part clever tactic, part embarrassing memory. Sometimes it works, but most of the time, it's a fast ticket to the rocket chair. Every now and then, a match turns less into a game of strategy and more into a test of emotions, especially for the hunters. In Identity 5, the setup is simple. 4 survivors, 1 hunter, and 5 ciphers standing between freedom and a rocket chair. While survivors rush to decode, one unlucky soul gets chased. If that survivor can kite long enough, the team gets closer to victory. But sometimes the outcome depends less on skill and more on how fragile the hunter's patience is. Usually, a hunter who struggles to down someone quickly will switch targets, looking for easier prey. But there are rare occasions when pride gets in the way, which usually happen to newbie hunters. Instead of giving up, this hunter locks onto their target like a personal vendetta. the chase drags on. Machine Pop. Gates open, yet the hunter refuses to turn around, determined to capture that one survivor no matter the cost. It doesn't even stop there. After finally knocking the survivor down, some hunters slam their weapon against walls, or against the rocket chair itself, like a toddler throwing a tantrum with slightly scarier props. Winning the match becomes irrelevant. What matters is proving a point. You may have escaped defeat, but you won't escape me. As a survivor, running into this type of hunter feels both terrifying and strangely flattering. On one hand, the whole team might actually escape while you suffer on the chair. On the other, someone just devoted their entire match to chasing little old you. A compliment? Maybe a nightmare? Definitely. In Identity 5, survivor roles are neatly divided into 4 main types: rescuer, decoder, hider, and support. There's also a 5th chaos agent known as the harasser, but that's a story for another day. In a perfect world, it works like this. Rescuers are the heroes who excel at saving people from rocket chairs. They often have skills that help them tank a hit or get to the chair faster. Decoders are the brains, specializing in blasting through cipher machines, assuming they don't get found first. Kidders are the legends who can run the hunter around for 5 years. Supports are the team moms, great at healing, protecting, or providing useful buffs. That's the theory. In the hands of a newbie, however, these roles become more of a gentle suggestion. You'll see a decoder charge headfirst into a haster to attempt a rescue with the confidence of a full health mercenary. You'll get a mercenary who pings others to go for a rescue, while he himself is decoding comfortably in a corner. Then, you might find a seer who forgets he has an owl, or a perfumer who's decided the best kite spot is actually inside the basement locker. As for hunters, well, they're generally split into chasers, campers, and controllers. How do newbies use them? Creatively. Let's just say their strategies are unorthodox. I'll let your imagination fill in the rest. I mean, if you've ever seen a geisha trying to chase a forward around a pallet for 300 seconds, you know exactly what I mean. For a newbie, securing a win is pure bliss. It's the best feeling in the world. And because that feeling is so rare when you're just starting out, they cling to it like treasure. How do they make it last? By rubbing it in the other faction's face until they're fully satisfied. Survivor mains love to celebrate a little too hard. The moment the exit gate is open, it's not an escape, it's a ballet recital. They'll dance and emote right at the line, taunting the hunter. If the hunter dares to approach, they just scurry away, fully confident they can't be caught. Harassers take it even further, spamming stickers and emotes at the hunter, who, let's be honest, is probably already having a bad day. Hunters aren't much better. When they finally down the last survivor, victory in hand, some choose to celebrate in their own way. Maybe they spam emotes. Maybe they circle the poor survivor like sharks. Or, in extreme cases, they pull the ultimate fake kindness, letting the survivor crawl toward the exit, giving them hope, then snatching them back up at the very last second and strapping them into a rocket chair. It's cruel, but effective. You don't just lose. You lose twice. Of course, the universe has a way of balancing things. Players who gloat too hard usually get their karma the next round, be it from a Merry Mirror jump scare or a survivor team that decodes so fast they might as well have used hack. But hey, at least the memory of that one win keeps the newbies warm at night. So yeah, those are 10 things you'll almost always catch newbies doing in this game. And be honest, don't sit there acting like a pro. You've done at least one of these before. Maybe all 10 if you're like me, which, let's not talk about that. Anyway, I'm curious, do you remember your most embarrassing newbie moment? That one match where you still wake up at night and cringe about? Drop it in the comments. I want to laugh with you, not at you. Thanks for watching. So Mina, signing off.